Hello! So, we've got something very exciting to finally announce. It is time for UBL Season 3. So, with a new season comes a lot of changes, and I want to go over those changes first. First of all, the format. The format is finally different. We're actually playing in current format. We're playing VGC 2021. So we've gone up to Sword and Shield. So no more restricted. No more playing Gen 7. No more Z moves. We're all about the Dynamax now. So, with this, we also had some other changes to divisions. Last time we had the Minors and the Majors League, or Majors Divisions, whatever. This time, we've actually split it, the two divisions, based on how people want to play. Since this is, the current gen, and people do actually like playing on console, some people decide to go and play Wi-Fi, and some people are playing on Showdown. As I do not have any way to record Switch footage, I'm playing on Showdown, because I still actually really like making these videos. I also don't really have easy ways or time to get Pokemon, so it's much easier for me to make, just Pokemon, to make a team on Showdown. And we all know how indecisive I am anyway. I will make, last minute changes, and I wouldn't be able to do that on console, so. Which I guess in some ways would be better, but no. We know what I'm like. As for the draft itself, we had a, I guess with the divisions as well, this means that some people that we've kind of seen in the UBL a lot, based mainly Airstream. Airstream has gone to run the Wi-Fi division, so we won't really be seeing Airstreamers this time around. But there are still some friendly faces that we've seen throughout the UBL, the Ultra Battle League, because I know there is actually another UBL that when we actually created this UBL, we didn't realize was a thing. So, yeah, this is the Ultra Battle League, not the, I don't think it's the Ultimate Battle League, which is the other UBL. Anyway, so we've still got other friendly faces, Canna, Fat Rat, and Lyric, who's actually running the Showdown League, are all taking part in this one, as well as a few other, I believe, recurring faces from the UBL, as well as some brand new faces, so I really look forward to seeing how they perform. So, there are 12 coaches in both divisions, actually. So we've got more teams, more battles, more excitement, and I'm really looking forward to this. We've had some, kind of practice with the RDL, so we kind of know with, a bit of Gen 8 VGC draft, we kind of know some stuff to kind of go off of, so. But with all the draft league experience that we've kind of been getting, I feel like I've finally been able to kind of, improve my play and improve, I think, my drafting as well. So, that's kind of what I wanted to focus on this draft. So, with this draft, so you get one Gmax Pokemon, one Tier 1 Pokemon, one Tier 2 Pokemon, two Tier 3 Pokemon, one Tier 4 Pokemon, one Tier 5 Pokemon, and then 4 free picks. Kind of the standard that has been going on for, kind of the standard of how we've been doing things, with the free picks anyway, with Tier 1s costing 180 points, Tier 2s 120, Tier 3 100, Tier 4 60, and Tier 5 40. The standard try and true way to that has been done for years in Draft League on the point system. It's been done for so long, and it just feels right. It's what we've been doing in the UBL for the last, couple seasons as well, because it's tried and true and it works. Even back when I started doing draft leagues, back in 2016, we were using this format. So, but enough reminiscing. As for the draft itself, I kind of had a plan. I was first pick, actually. And I kind of knew going into it, I wanted to make sure I had good cores. in UBL Season 2, I think that's something I really lacked. UBL Season 1, I really just got away with, you know, whatever I wanted, because I had Lunala, Kyogre, and Incineroar. But in UBL Season 2, I really felt like I didn't draft... it was mainly I kind of drafted a lot of good stuff. That we didn't really have a lot of great synergy other than just typing. The only real core I kind of focused on trying to get was Tapu Koko, Arcanine, and Lugia. That with Mega Kang kind of ended up becoming my main core. So it just kind of like... That core was great. And then we kind of included a Hail core in like halfway through the season. Which was cool, but like other than that, like we didn't really have cores that we could kind of just go to, and having a core of Pokemon brings out the strengths of certain Pokemon even more. So I think focusing on cores was kind of something I really wanted to go with, and not really try and just go, I'm just going to pick this because it's a good Pokemon. I wanted to make sure that Pokemon had synergy, and I could bring modes of a team, and I could look at a mode of a team and say, is this mode good here? And if it is, then we can go with that mode. And just kind of focus on getting these cores together. So that's what I kind of ended up trying to do. And with me being first pick of the draft, it was kind of a little bit awkward. With the first pick, it meant I couldn't really draft a core. Because being first pick is a double-edged sword, right? You get your really early pick. But then you kind of have... With this, I had to have to wait 22 picks before I got another pick, so a lot of stuff was going to go. As a result, I wanted to make sure I got... I wanted to make sure I got a solid Pokemon. A Pokemon I was happy with, that didn't realistically need support. It could work on its own perfectly fine. And we could just use it. It was going to work no matter what we kind of picked up in the process, whether my plan that I originally had ended up going through. We had a good Pokemon to start with. So, that's what I did. So my first pick originally was going to actually be Regieleki. Regieleki was going to be my first pick because it was a fast electric type, it provides speed control, it provides screen support. It's a really good Pokemon in my opinion, but I was like, there was two problems I had with it. One, it was probably going to be it's probably going to be like my only tier 1 if I end up kind of going with my draft strategy. And if my tier 1 was just going to be halted by ground types, I didn't really feel comfortable with it. That, and if my full plan ended up going through, then Regieleki wasn't actually going to be that much beneficial. It wasn't going to be that beneficial to me. So, I decided to go with a different Pokemon. And that different Pokemon was Galarian Moltres, which unfortunately on this website does not have the picture, which is why we got Showdown at the ready to talk about Galarian Moltres, a Pokemon I love. In VGC 2021, it was one of the first Pokemon I tried out. Granted, not in the way I think it ended up getting used. I tried kind of a bulky support set, but which it granted can do. But everyone knows what Galarian Moltres does. It has Berserk, it has a weakness policy, you give it a nasty plot, and it starts shredding teams. Due to its bulk, it's really good just maxed. And its two like main max moves, its two stab max moves are incredibly good. Being able to a pseudo raise your special attack with max darkness by dropping the opponent's special defense, and raising your speed with max airstream to boost your pretty like average to kind of above average speed, can really make Moltres very, very scary. And again, it's so bulky that giving it a weakness policy and then Berserk, and it can really snowball out of control really quickly. Not only that, but it gets, as I say, originally I tried it as a supporting Pokemon because it gets access to things like Snarl and Taunt and U-Turn. And it doesn't even need a weakness policy to really work. You slap a Life Orb on it, it can do just as much damage immediately and doesn't even need the weakness policy boost. Think of it how like people used Glastrier. How people were like, okay, cool, like you give a weakness policy to Glastrier, right? And you try and use weakness policy Glastrier because if your opponent hits it with anything that's not super effective, then you don't do enough damage. That is me plugging in my laptop charger because I didn't realize it's it wasn't plugged in. But if you give the Glastrier a life orb, it like you can just do damage immediately without having to wait for your opponent to proc the weakness policy. Granted, with Glastrier, it's a bit different because often you do proc your own weakness policy with things like the Scops and Break and things like that. So it's not quite the same, but yeah, Moltres, a great Pokemon. And I really am happy to have it. Again, it's also a Pokemon I'm quite comfortable with. Out of the new Pokemon, this and Regieleki were the two I was most comfortable with, and I'm just glad to have Moltres. So, we had to wait 22 picks. And my original plan didn't end up going through. So, yeah. Originally I wanted Regigigas and Weezing. Regigigas went round 1. So, yeah. So that happened. So we didn't end up getting Regigigas. Which was, you know, unfortunate, but not the end of the world. So I was like, alright, well, it's not the end of the world, we lose Regigigas, whatever. We still have the other part of the core that I kind of wanted to go with. And this can still work really nicely. So, for our second pick, we end up getting G-Max Colossal. We are going with the Cole boys. We are going Brr. Colossal has proven its dominance in VGC. Ever since its release. Colossal is a monster. It just is. G-Max Colossal has proven its worth. It's won both Players' Cups now. Due to the fact of you give it a weakness policy and you set it up with Steam Engine and you're good to go. The thing does crazy damage and it's really hard to stop. It's such a scary Pokemon to go against and demands respect from the opponent. So I was really happy to have Colossal. There was the option of grabbing other G-Maxes. I did forget to mention. You actually could get more points for your free picks if you grabbed a lower tier G-Max. So a couple of the ones that we're considering was G-Max Inteleon, gave you an extra 40 points. And G-Max Kingler actually gave you an extra 60 points. And those were a couple I was considering if I didn't get Colossal. But I was like, if you're going to give me Colossal, I'm going to go for it. I think in draft, Colossal is such a scary Pokemon to go against. Because it demands so much respect. People can prep for it, obviously. But they have to respect Colossal. It's such a scary Pokemon to go against. It has good coverage, you know. You don't have to be just running... You can drop the fire coverage if you don't think you need it. You can have grass, you can have ground. You obviously want fire for Vocalith, because Vocalith is insane. All the damage over time effects, other than Sandacondas and Center Scorchers. All the starter damage over times and Colossals are all insanely good. So, like, having that is really important. And Cole is just an incredible Pokemon, and I'm really looking forward to using it. It is worth mentioning that both my Tier 1 and my G-Max are both kind of offensive special attackers that really like to max. Something that originally I wasn't super happy with, but later down the line I kind of end up being happy with it. For reasons you'll see later, but we'll get to that when we get to it. And it's going to be a lot later. This draft video is going to be very long, so I do apologize. But, so, as I kind of said, I get, after the first pick, once it gets back around to me, every pick I make is a double pick. So, I got to make my third pick at the same time as Colossal, meaning I could actually grab it in a pair. And this is a Pokemon I didn't know if would go early. Fun fact, other than the Regigigas, I don't think I got sniped at all. So, that was honestly great. The fact that I didn't get sniped at all. Well, it was kind of a sort of snipe, but it was a self-thought thing. I'll get to it when I get to it. But yeah, for the most, I didn't realistically get sniped other than Regigigas. Because originally I wanted Gigas Cole, because that is kind of an archetype in VGC. And I was able to actually get that if I wanted it, but I didn't, so we just kind of went with Cole. the Pokemon I wanted next was I looked at the Wi-Fi draft because the Wi-Fi draft at this point was actually done. They'd finished that drafting. We kind of started. I think they started a day early, but they were finished at this point, and no one had drafted this Pokemon. I was thinking I could leave it, but if I don't get this, I'm gonna be so mad with myself. So we grabbed Dragonite. Dragonite is a great Pokemon. I really like Dragonite. Dragonite was a tier 2. And I'm really happy to have it. It's got great stats overall. And really when you think Dragonite, you kind of... There's like one main thing, think about it, right? You think multi-scale. You think multi-scale, you think slap a weakness policy on there, you're good to go. But Dragonite got 3 really nice buffs this generation, in my opinion. The first is Dual Wing Beat. Dual Wing Beat's a great buff to Dragonite because it means it has a physical flying type move outside of Max. So you can just run Dual Wing Beat and you can get away with it. You don't have to run Fly to use Max Airstream. You can just run Dual Wing Beat and you're good to go. So, the second one is Breaking Swipe. Breaking Swipe is actually a really great support move that Dragonite gets access to. So if you want to run kind of a bulkier supporting set, because it does get Icy Wind as well. It means you can kind of go with that kind of supporting style, and I think Breaking Swipe is, like, super, super nice. But I think one of the most important is the fact that Inner Focus, it now makes it immune to Intimidate. So if you don't need to go for the multi-scale, you can just make yourself immune to Intimidate, and really make Dragonite an offensive threat. So you can slap a Life Orb on there, you know, and actually not have to worry about multi-scale, and you don't have to worry about Intimidate because you're immune to it. Inner Focus also gives it another nice benefit of not being able to be flinched, which is very nice because Dragonite gets access to Aqua Jet. And if you see we've got a Coal, you can see where things are going. Aqua Jet the Coal, and have it with supporting moves such as Breaking Swipe and Icy Wind, and suddenly you've got a support Dragonite support that can Aqua Jet into a Colossal that cannot be faked out. Which is very, very good. I was really happy when this kind of clicked. I was like, this makes Dragonite such an insane Pokemon with Colossal. Because it's a Pokemon that it can't be faked out. And you can't intimidate it if you got the Focus to reduce Dragonite's damage output. Which in a sense is kind of a bad thing, but at the same time, like, a good Aqua Jet Pokemon with Colossal is really nice for things that try and, like, just outspeed anything else. Obviously, there are faster Aqua Jet killers, things like Urshifu. But it means they've got to Aqua Jet Colossal. If you make the read on that and they just Aqua Jet your Colossal for you, then you're in good business. So, yeah. That is why we like Dragonite. Again, it could just be used as an offensive threat if we want to. Because it gets good coverage. Obviously, it gets, you know, Dragon and Flying, Ground, Fire, Electric, Water if you go on the special side. I think even on the physical side as well. It gets so many great moves. That it can do so much. You can get Scale Shot? That's kind of good, actually. But yeah. Dragon is a great Pokemon, and I'm really excited to use it. Something that was also kind of pointed out, is now, so picking up Dragonite means that all 3 seasons of the UBL I've picked a Pokemon were essentially multi-scale. For Season 1 I had Lunala with Shadow Shield, which is basically multi-scale. Season 2 I had Lugia with multi-scale. And now in Season 3 I've got Dragonite. So, here we are. Not intentional, but I just apparently really like having multi-scale. I don't get it, but it was just a thing that happened, and here we are. So, that's pick 3. So pick 4 and pick 5 I had to wait a little while for. So, we got 22 picks later, and I was kind of looking at tier 2, and I was like, alright, what's in tier 2 that I actually like? Because I can pick up another tier 2, and that will work with basically any way I want to kind of go. If I want to go with my 3 points. So if I want, I can still go for tier 1, tier 2, tier 4, tier 5. I could go for double tier 2, tier 3, tier 4. I could even go, you know, even like you can do 3 tier 2s and a tier 5 if you want. But like going for a tier 2 in the free slot kind of made it really flexible. It meant I wasn't committing super hard with any kind of plan to be efficient with my points. So I was looking in and I was like, well, I've kind of started a couple cores, right, in terms of typing. Everyone kind of goes on that the Fire, Water, Grass core and the Dragon, Fairy, Steel core. They're tried and true typing cores that really help support each other. And I personally believe in them. Especially with Colossal, like, obviously Colossal's great, and you really want the support to kind of help Colossal. So, like, definitely wanting Fire, Water, Grass, but also just, like, I've already picked a Dragon, and Steel are very, very good types, so, like, why not? So, I kind of had a look, and I was like, oh, hey. Hello, old friend. You're a good Steel type. Let's grab you again. So, making a return from the RDL, we once again have Escavalier. I have said it once, I have said it a million times, and I will not stop saying it. Escav is Blescav. It's an incredible Trick Room sweeper, and I knew I wanted a Trick Room mode to this team. But I love Escavalier. It's so good. It's such a good Pokemon, like... So the thing about Escavalier is, if a team has a Trick Room mode, often it's going to be pretty, you know, it's going to have a slow Pokemon, right? You know, it's going to have a slow Trick Room sweeper. But there's only 2 Pokemon that really kind of contest Escavalier in terms of how slow it is. One of them's Torkoal, which I'd never bring Escavalier into. And the other one is Stakataka, who can't touch Escavalier really at all. And Escavalier has close combat and drill run into it. So, yeah, like, Stakataka is the only real Trick Room sweeper that's slower than it, and it doesn't beat Escavalier. Escavalier's got insane attack, great bulk, super low speed for Trick Room, and its max moves are really good. You kind of get, like, the opposite effect of Moltres, of the Max Darkness boosting its special attack, whereas you can use Max Bulk to kind of pseudo-boost its special defense by dropping the opponent's special attack, while still having a really powerful max move, with Mega Horn being based on 40 power, or even X-Scissor being 130. Then you obviously got Steel Spike boosting your own defense, you can boost your own special defense regardless with Max Quake, you have Max Knuckle, you have Max Darkness to support special attackers that might be partnered with the X-Scav. Escav is a beast, and it served me so well in the RDL. It was something I did, it's also now, like, one of my most drafted Pokemon. I think number 1 still goes to Florges, just because I've played in so many singles leagues, like, a few years back. No, in modern times, in, like, 2020, Escav has been my most drafted Pokemon. It didn't serve me nearly as well, I think, in UBL Season 1. But that's because, like, really what really carries Escav is the fact that it's max. As a max, it's really scary. So I'm really happy to have Escav back. As I say, Escav is Blescav. It's beautiful. We don't have Crescav. That was the combo we had in RDL of Cresselia Escavalier. But I think even without Cress, Blescav can put in some work, and I'm really excited to use it. It's a really, really good Pokemon. That one weakness to fire, we already have 2 resistance for. Like, I was saying this in the Discord server. If I switch Escav out into Coal and someone wants to give me a Steam Engine boost, that's great. Like, say, last turn of Trick Room, I switched Escav out into Coal, and suddenly, like, cool. Coal has a Steam Engine boost. Sick. So, really was excited to use Escavalier. And then pick 5. So pick 5, I kind of thought about it, and I was like, okay, well, I've already kind of started my... I've almost complete with my Fairy Dragon Steel core, and I've already started my Fire, Water, Grass core, so why don't I kind of, like, put 2 and 2 together and kind of help out with both, right? So, we grabbed the Tier 3 Azumarill. And then Grace Period happened. Halfway through the draft, I was thinking, I really don't like Azumarill here. Like, I don't know, just, I don't feel comfortable using Azumarill. It was the one thing I knew. So with Grace Period, I really didn't want to go overboard because in UBL Season 2, I think I went far too overboard and tried to just amend my draft. And I think trying to get good with the Pokemon I'm using is really important. But I really didn't feel like Azumarill really kind of fit with what I wanted to go with. So I decided I'm going to drop it once Grace Period rolls around. And instead, I ended up grabbing a different water type. I grabbed a Vaporeon. So, I love Vaporeon to death. It's so good. I love it so much. Like, basically whenever I play for a Pokemon game, if I don't know what one water type I want to use, the Vaporeon gets thrown on the team. It doesn't matter. The best example of that was when I played through Sun and Moon for the first time. I was about to enter the 8th of Paradise with 4 Pokemon. And so I went and caught... I think I caught a Charger Bug and an Eevee and evolved it into Vaporeon. And I slapped it on the team and it carried me. But as for competitive, especially in doubles it's kind of interesting. But it gives me another water... It gives me a bulky water type, which I did want. I did want a bulky water type, regardless. But Vaporeon has some really nice uses. It's a really bulky special attacker that actually gets some nice utility. What I'm kind of calling one of the kind of offensive support ones of the team. So, things like Haze are really nice. The main things I was thinking was Helping Hand and Yawn. But obviously it gets things like Baby Doll Eyes and Charm. But also Icy Wind is really nice. It's a bit of nice speed control. Because this team, I think one of the things it does struggle with is speed control. So even things like Icy Wind Vaporeon is kind of nice. But like, base 110 special attack is also really good. So it can deal some pretty good damage with Scalds and Hydro Pumps. And pretty decent coverage and, you know, Ice Beam and Shadow Ball. So it's not a bad Pokemon whatsoever. And I just was like, I'm really happy with just having a nice bulky water type on the team. It may not look like it serves a lot of purpose, but with terms of typing and really kind of pulling this team together, it does a lot more than it looks like at the minute. And I think you'll kind of see that a little bit later. So, but I think having this bulky kind of support offensive mon is really nice. Because I was considering Sylveon as well. And Sylveon may do a little bit more as well. But, like, there's also, like... Vaporeon can do a decent amount of what Sylveon does. But just a different typing. So... I don't know. I was quite happy to have Vaporeon. And, yeah. There's also Muddy Water as well. Which you can use for spread damage. Which is always fun. So, yeah. Vaporeon, solid water type, and I think will really help us out. So, then we had to wait again and go for our... And then when it got back to us, we got to our pick 6 and pick 7. I forgot, I actually did get sniped. I got sniped, but it didn't really matter. And we'll talk about why, because the Pokemon I got sniped on was Weavile, but I get Sneasel regardless. Sneasel, I'm calling that. I'm gonna. It's that friend that you don't really want around, but you keep them around anyway, because they are what's known as the enabler. Disregarding my 7th pick. Like, so just put Sneasel on here right now. So I'll spoil it right now. The partnering Pokemon I got with Sneasel, it doesn't benefit from Sneasel. But look at, like, what's here on the screen already. You got Surfer Colossal, and you've got Ice Shard Weakness Policy for both Moltres and Dragonite. That enables half my team already to go off. As well as being really fast, having its own Fake Out pressure, and being immune to Fake Out itself. I was kind of hoping for Weavile, just for the extra speed and damage, so it can be used, like, as an actual offensive Pokemon itself. But I'm not going to complain with Sneasel. It was a tier 3, just along with Vaporeon. And I was like, you know what? It's good. It enables so much. And it's not like it doesn't do damage either. Also Taunt as well. Like, it's a lot of... This is a support Pokemon. It's an offensive Pokemon. So it's a support Pokemon disguised as an offensive Pokemon. But it does so much. It's so good. And leaving it around is very dangerous. Just because it can actually do damage. But it does... It's an enabler. It enables so much of this team to really kind of shoot up in terms of power. It's not just this is a good stuff team. This is I'm putting together Pokemon that work well together team. And I think that's really important, especially in Gen 8 doubles. Pokemon that work well together is really important, and Sneasel is so good at just enabling Pokemon to really go off really quickly. So, yeah. Again, it's Surf, so you don't have to worry about the Follow Me. We don't have to worry about Follow Me, so we can actually Surf our Colossal very fast. And yeah, Sneasel is a great Pokemon. It can be used offensively as well as an offensive Ice type. You know, give it Triple Axle and some coverage, and it'll do some damage. But obviously, the main thing here, people know what Sneasel is used for, and that's to really kind of enable what Pokemon do. It makes Pokemon even better than they already are, and that is why we like Sneasel. So, going on to pick 7, as I said, I kind of alluded to, it doesn't really benefit from Sneasel. What it does is kind of helps another core out, and that is picking up Kangaskhan. This is base Kangaskhan, so we're not using Mega Kangaskhan this time. But it gives us another Fake Out Mon, which, by the way, I love double Fake Out. But the reason why I wanted Kang is I wanted a slower Fake Out Mon. Now, Kang with base 90 speed is actually pretty fast. It's the same speed as Moltres. We're just going to delete Moltres for now. But it gives us a couple extra things. First of all, Kang is not a bad max target, can I just say? It's a pure normal type that gets access to Giga Impact as a max move, as well as good coverage in terms of like fighting, ground, you know, all the elemental punches. I guess a lot of great coverage, as well as Sucker Punch as well. I think it's beat up 2. Why do you get beat up 2? But it's a good supporting Pokemon. I'm kind of like looking to use Kang as a supporting Pokemon, and basically looking to use this as my Trick Room support. Which sounds weird, right? You know, it's a base 90 speed Pokemon that's being used as Trick Room support. That seems a little odd, right? Well, the thing with Kang is it's immune to Fake Out, so you can Fake Out other Pokemon without being faked out yourself. It has good supporting options. You know, it gets Helping Hand. It gets Rock Slide just to do annoying stuff. It gets Icy Wind. It can be a supporting piece, but it also, I feel like with a good amount of like Trick Room support Pokemon, sometimes they can just be like, you can leave the Trick Room support and the Trick Room setter kind of just there, not allow the opponent to bring in their Trick Room sweeper. But Kang is enough of an offensive threat where it's still going to do good damage if you leave it there. So it's still a scary Pokemon to kind of leave around, and again, it is a potential max target at times, just because it does a lot of damage. And in the right matchup, it can really do well. And there's a tier 4 like kind of Fake Out support Pokemon that can utilize in kind of the Trick Room mode of this team. I'm pretty happy with it. Because basically it was that or like Flacky, I was considering. And with a couple other Pokemon that I kind of ended up going with, Flacky didn't end up working super well with this team. So, I'm happy with Kang. And yeah, yeah, good Pokemon. Happy to have it. So, that meant we were going into pick 8 and pick 9. I think some context for this was there was a bit of a break in the draft. And so I had 4 picks left, and I was really trying to put together some plans. So I was thinking there were essentially 2 pairs I wanted to go with. There were the 2 and one of the pairs was Suicune Sylveon. I was like, alright, well, I'm going to drop Azumarill. I'm going to pick up Gallade as a justified Pokemon to use with Sneasel. And I'm going to pick up Suicune as a bulky water and Sylveon as a bulky fairy. And then I found out Sylveon was gone. So I did have to make some adjustments. But the other 2 Pokemon I wanted were still around. So let's talk about those. So, for my pick 8, I believe this was technically pick 9, but I think this is better. In terms of structure, I feel like it's better to talk about first. As my tier 5 free, we ended up getting another tier 5 as well, but as a tier 5 free, we actually got, if I can spell it, we got Dusknoir. This one I took a bit of a page out of Airstream's book, because Airstream in the Wi-Fi division has a very similar team to mine. We both went with Colossal, with Sneasel, and ended up having a Trick Room mode. They have Tangler as kind of their support for the for setting up Trick Room. I just ended up going with Kang because I kind of liked it a little bit better, and it kind of felt more synergistic with some of the Pokemon I wanted to go with. But I definitely took a page out of Airstream's book with this one. Because Dusclops was a tier 1 Trick Room setter. Whereas Dusknoir is a tier 5 Trick Room setter. And sure, you lose out on, a lot of bulk. But its base bulk is still very good. And kind of like Kang, it can sit there and, obviously people will just ignore Dusclops. Because, you'll be doing Nightshades with it. But Dusknoir, on the other hand, it's a max target. No joke. Based on your attack with Poltergeist that can, that essentially supports itself. Like with Galarian Moltres that, max Darknesses and supports itself that way. Dusknoir supports itself with max Phantasm, coming off of Poltergeist. And again, this is the main Trick Room setter of the team as well. So set up Trick Room, put this next to Kang, and you've got 2 pretty good physical attackers. Obviously, it also gets the kind of the same supporting stuff that Dusclops is known for. Things like Will-O-Wisp, Haze, Taunt, and obviously it has that Frisk ability as well. So it makes it so you can kind of you can get an idea on what your opponent is doing as well. And this kind of rounds out the Trick Room core of the team. Of Escavalier, Kang, and Dusknoir. And what I really like about this core is you can't fake out Kang, you can't fake out Dusknoir, so you're very likely to get Trick Room up unless they find a way to kill Dusknoir. In which I can make things bulky, you know me. You get up your Trick Room, and then you've got 2 offensive Pokemon in play with an even more offensive Pokemon in the back, and none of them share weaknesses. In fact, with Ally Switch, Kang and Dusknoir become very scary together, because you want to hit Kang with a fighting type move, and Dusknoir Ally switches into that slot, and you want to hit Dusknoir with a ghost type move, and Kang Ally switches into that. Kang gets Ally switched into that slot, and yeah, between the core of those 3, there is 4 weaknesses. Kang only has 1, Escav only has 1, and Dusknoir has 2. And they all really support each other. Kang can max and raise the attack of the partner. Dusknoir can load the defense of the partner. And Escav can buff the defenses of the partner. Of whoever is out. And it really makes this core work super well. And I'm really happy with this whole Trick Room core of Escav, Kang, and Dusknoir. And saying that's a tier 2, or tier 4, and tier 5, and I've got a Trick Room core that I feel very happy with and feel like can easily come to games. Because that was the thing as well. In UBL Season 2, it really felt like my low tiers I couldn't do a lot with. So I wanted to make sure that my low tiers felt like something good. I kind of like did this a little bit with a Bomber Snow back in UBL Season 2, where I was like, cool, I now have a Hail Pokemon, so I can use that to actually bring a Hail Core. But some of my other lower tier picks, I don't think I really did as good of a job with. With this whole Trick Room core, it feels really strong and feels like something that can very easily come out. And I feel very, very happy with it. The whole core feels right, and it just works. So, well, we'll see if it works. I can see it working, though. But I'm very happy to try it out. So, the other Tier 5 I grabbed was a Pokemon I'm near and dear to be honest. I saw it in Tier 5 and I said, I do not care what my draft looks like. This Pokemon is going on my team. And you know what? It still kind of works. So, say hello to Roserade. I ripped the Everton Espeons, but Roserade is my second favourite Pokemon by a very small margin. Its stats are really good. For a tier 5, this is a steal in my opinion. Probably the best steal I got. It's such a good Pokemon. It has great special offense, good special bulk, pretty good speed. It's, you know, again, it's kind of same speed as Kang and Moltres. And just so much. I love Roserade so much. Because it does really good damage. Like, I kind of like thinking of it as like... There's like an archetype of Pokemon where like a lot of them, you know, they have a... Kind of like the God of War archetype where they've got great special attack, almost comparable special defense, and middle to high speed. Things like Delphox have this, things like Primarina have this. And Roserade kind of falls under that category as well. It's a really solid special attacker, and one thing I was really happy with picking it up is it's a good grass type, which obviously fills up my Fire, Water, Grass core as well. This fills out Fire, Water, Grass core. But it also means it's just a good Pokemon in and out of max, which I thought was really important to have on the team. Because you can give it, you know, you give it D-Gleam, Energy Ball, Giga Drain, Leaf Storm, Sludge Bomb, Shadow Ball. It gives some really nice coverage. But then it also has Sleep Powder. So you can just play the Sleep Powder game too. So it's a really... You get Life too? That's so broken. So it's a really, really nice Pokemon to have. Just as an out-of-max option. It can provide support, but it's really an offensive threat. I feel like in and out of max, it can really, really work. And yeah, no, I'm really excited to use Roserade. Again, it's one of my favorite Pokemon of all time, and I think it can put in some work. It might be one of the weaker pieces, but at least for now, it's definitely getting a shot because I'm not just dropping it without seeing, and especially because in Tier 5 as well. Like, there were definitely some pieces that I was, like, considering. Things like Tentacruel I was considering, because that was Tier 5. And there were definitely some Tier 5 gems in there as well. But, I really just wanted to go with Roserade. So, yeah. Here we are. We have Roserade. And that kind of left me with my last two picks. So as I said, I wasn't going for Sylveon, Suicune. We've got our extra water type, you kind of know that now, and I didn't end up going with the Gallade route. So, what did I end up doing? Well, I wasn't gonna just pass up having Justified on my team, was I? So here we are, Virizion. I'm sorry, but like, Cold, Sneasel, Virizion, like, that core in itself is so good. It just is. Because it means you have a grass type that can switch into ground type moves from that are targeting coal. Obviously it means we have double grass type, but we already have double dark type, so it's not like I wasn't going to try and not repeat typings. Like, it was going to happen. And double flying. So we have a couple repeat typings, but I don't think they're that big of a deal. But we have a justified Pokemon that worked with Sneasel. And one of the reasons why I wanted to go with Virizion as well, and why I was still, like, I was like, I could go Gallade and then get Suicune and just get another fairy type like Klefki or something. But one of the things that this team really didn't have a lot of was natural speed. Its fastest Pokemon is Sneasel, and if I went with Gallade, then my second fastest Pokemon was going to be base 90 speed. So I wanted to make sure I had kind of a stopgap between that, and that's what Virizion does. And as we know what Virizion does. It's a justified Pokemon that partners with Sneasel, or even Kang, I guess, but Kang would have to be Scarfed. With great coverage, and just it's a really good Pokemon. It just is. Obviously, it's the kind of less used of the out of the Three Musketeers. Just because like rock fighting and steel fighting kind of have better coverage, but it still gets bounce. You know, it gets the grass fighting coverage. And it kind of ties together another core. The core of Coal, Dragonite, Sneasel, and Virizion. You can beat up the Virizion, you can Ice Shard the Dragonite, you can Surf the Coal, all with Sneasel's help. And even without that, you've still got Dragonite supporting Colossal. Colossal and Virizion have good synergy with typing-wise. Because one doesn't like fire, and one doesn't like ground, so they support each other that way, as well as having different enablers for different Pokemon. This kind of Core 4, which basically I'm calling the Coal Core, because it mainly focuses around Colossal. But Sneasel kind of enables all three of these in 3 different ways as well. You got Beat Up, Ice Shard, and Surf. They can enable all 3 in different ways. And that means that, you know, you've got so many different things that can go on. Just because, like, Sneasel enables all of them. But they all kind of focus around Colossal. And these 4 Pokemon can really, really work. And provide a lot of kind of setup and offensive threats that have to be respected. 2 kind of main offensive threats, 1 potential offensive threat but can also be support, and then 1 supportive. And this kind of whole core is something that can come as a full pack, or we can just split it up. We don't always need all 4. Which I think is really important. It's like, we don't need all 4. We could just take Dragonite, Colossal in, and just have those 2. We could just take Weavile, Sneasel, Virizion, and Coal, and just not bring the Dragonite. If we really want to, we could just bring Sneasel Dragonite. We don't need to bring anything else. The core can be cut down. It doesn't need to come as a core of 4. It doesn't have to be full, all 4 coming every week. We can look at what our opponent is weak to, and kind of split the core down accordingly while bringing other parts to the core. Kind of like with the Trick Room as well. The Trick Room core, it doesn't need all 3 of Dusknoir, Kang, and Escavalier. It can just be, like, the Kang can be cut if Sneasel is coming, and we can use that to set up Trick Room as well, as support. But obviously, if I'm going Trick Room, I can't need the Trick Room Pokemon and the Trick Room Sweeper, so... But, like, the Kang can be cut down, just to kind of, like, make it easy to slot into the team. And picking up Virizion kind of made it so that, like, we had another great offensive threat. And so, the last pick. If you may have noticed, I still never grabbed a fairy, and I was kind of talking about Klefki, right? But then I looked at a different Pokemon, and I was like, you know what? If I use this thing right, this can really make this team shine. So for my final pick, we got Galarian Weezing. I may not have gotten normal Weezing, but Galarian Weezing is still very good. And yeah, it gives us our fairy type, so it finally completes our Fairy Dragon Steel core for real this time. As well as we have, you know, our Fire Water Grass core completed. You know, we have 2 grass types. But Weezing is really nice. It means just like it's kind of like Vaporeon in a sense. I'm just gonna give it a Sneasel because it's kind of easy to talk about. So with Weezing, with Galarian Weezing, or just Weezing in general, it's really just good at being like pretty good offensive support. With Taunt and Will-O-Wisp, it can really shut down Pokemon, as well as having great offensive coverage. With Sludge Bomb, Strange Steam, and Flamethrower, it gets really, and T-Bolt, like it gets a lot of great coverage. And obviously has, you know, neutralizing gas, it can really shut down strategies. Now you may think, but you have a lot of strategies that rely on abilities, right? This is true, but those don't always have to come out, and those don't always have to come out with Weezing. Not only that, unlike regular Weezing, Galarian Weezing still has another ability. It has Misty Surge. So if we go against terrain, we don't have to run neutralizing gas to stop them using terrain. We can just bring in Galarian Weezing and just set up our own Misty Terrain, kind of helping to mitigate RNG and burns and things like that. We don't have anything to really utilize with the Misty Terrain, but Misty Terrain is kind of just a good go-to kind of just neutral, it's like, state of the game. So, which is why I quite like it. It doesn't benefit either opponent too much, and I can really, if I know I'm using it, then it means just like I can kind of control what I want to. In terms of like, you know, status, and you know, maybe they want to go with like Grassy Glides with Rillaboom, or you know, they want to do, I don't know, Psychic Spam stuff. Weezing can come in and just say, no, you're not. And you might not think it, but this actually completes another core. And you might be like, wait, what? This completes a core? I didn't think about this too much immediately, but this core of 4 Pokemon, of Moltres, Weezing, Roserade, Vaporeon, is kind of something I've ended up dubbing as the final core. Because obviously I had the Coal core of 4 Pokemon, the Trick Room core of 3 Pokemon, and then I kind of looked at the final 4 and went, okay, yeah, these are just kind of the leftover Pokemon. And then I thought about it, I was like, wait, this is the core in itself. Because Moltres is the focal core of this, focal point of this core. It's kind of still, I'm calling it the good stuff core. But Moltres Weezing is actually a very good, like, core in itself. Because, like, you shut down abilities to your opponents. Moltres doesn't need the Berserk to be good. Or you can just use Misty Surge. But you shut down your abilities to your opponent, and Weezing and Moltres together have great synergy. In terms of typing. Not only that, Weezing provides offensive support, and Moltres can really set up for the other 2 Pokemon, Roserade and Vaporeon, with them both being special attackers, to really clean up during the late game, because they're Pokemon that don't need to max. And again, Vaporeon is offensive support, Roserade can be offensive and just, you know, fire off Sleep Powders, and all of these Pokemon benefit from Max Darkness, which Moltres sets up. And they'll also benefit from the speed that it gives as well. So, like, all these Pokemon end up just working out really nicely, and like all their weaknesses and resistances like really cover each other well. Because obviously Moltres really doesn't like fairy types. Boom, I've got 2 poison types, but they don't like psychic types, right? Well, I've got a Moltres. What's that? I've got 2 ice weeks, I've got a Vaporeon, I've got 2 electric weeks, I've got a Roserade. You know, there's a lot of type synergy within these Pokemon. And the Moltres is what kind of ties it together, because it essentially pseudo-buffs the entire core. And this is also kind of the easiest core to split down. So, like, you know, I want to bring... I want to bring... You know, I want to say that I want the full Trick Room core, but I want to make sure I've got Dragonite Colossal. I can still bring just one other Pokemon. So I can just say bring Moltres, or I could just bring Weezing. Or I could just bring, like, Vaporeon. I can bring one of these quote-unquote good stuff Pokemon. But also just bringing things like Weezing Moltres, or just, like, cutting one of the Pokemon down. Maybe I don't need Roserade for a certain matchup, or I don't need Vaporeon for a certain matchup. Or even Weezing. I don't need one of these Pokemon for the matchup. But having Moltres just be able to partner with the other special attackers of the team ends up working out quite well. So, yeah, that is the team. And for the first time, I'm actually able to show the UBL doc. So here we are. This is my team sheet. So, yeah, here we are, the Everton Espeons. You can kind of see all my typings, all my speed tiers. You can see I definitely don't have the best speeds, in my opinion. I think that's one of the weaknesses of this team. That, and I think a couple type overlaps. But I'm trying not to be too hard on myself. I feel like I'm very critical of my own draft. But I really often don't look at the good points of it. And this time I've really been able to see the really good points of it. So, and the team just looks so solid. I really like the look of this team. I really like the potential that it has. All the Pokemon feel like they fit a role. And I'm really excited to use this team. So, yeah. I think one of the things I'm still a little upset I didn't get access to was Tailwind. But with things like Max Airstream Moltres, Max Airstream Dragonite, and most importantly, Colossal, the team still has good speed. So it's not like it's slow, and it's not like it has to rely on Trick Room every week. It has speed options that can really just escalate. But obviously it still has a great Trick Room mode. So, I'm really looking forward to using this team. I'm really looking forward to UBL Season 3, seeing how it plays out. And yeah, I really hope you guys are looking forward to it too. Because this is going to be a blast. And yeah. Thank you very much for watching. Really hope you guys stick around and watch the rest of my matches. Because I'm really looking forward to playing them. So, that has been it from me. And so I'll just kindly ask you to take it easy, everyone. Peace.